Hi, I'm Dr. M. Kamakshaya. I'm creating a series of video demonstrations related to modeling in using spreadsheet applications. In my previous video, I've explained how to perform normality test on the underlying data variable, study data variable. In this video, I'm going to show how to proceed ahead after because normality test is a prerequisite for most of the parametric test. So once we confirm that the underlying data distribution or data variable is normally distributed, then we proceed to rest of the parametric statistical test like f-test, t-test and all. In this video demonstration, I'm going to explain how to perform a two-sample t-test on a given data variable. So here I have a data set. This is actually a hypothetical scenario and simulated data set. I just simulated these data variables. Now the question in this context is, I would like to find the gender level differences, salary differences are statistically significant or not. So once again I repeat, the gender level salary differences a difference is statistically significant or not, which means the average of the male individuals, male salary particulars of male and female individuals, the difference between the averages of the salary, average salary for both male and female, is statistically significant or not. So for that, what we need to do is we just have to, we need to verify the data. So what is the average salary for male individuals? What is the average salary for the female individuals? So generally, this is how the raw data looks like. So with a little processing, we can convert this into a crosstab. So getting all the salary particulars of male individuals under one column and the salary particulars of female individuals. So how do we do that? So just go to the insert tab and click on this pivot table. So it automatically selected the data. Now I would like to create the pivot table in a new worksheet. Press OK, then go for serial number in rows and gender in columns. Now salary, take salary under values. So these are the sums of the salaries. So I thoroughly created a cross tab. I mean, this is just a cross between. It is not exactly crass. I am trying to figure out the salary particulars of each of the gender level. So here I have two gender levels, male and female. So if I go down and calculate the average for male individuals, so this is going to be somewhere around 44.4, and same average for female individuals, I mean average salary for female individuals. So that's going to be 44.15. So it is very clear, excuse me. It's very clear that the difference is not that significant, but however we need to carry on with. It's just an intuitive observation, but I wanted to confirm with the level of evidence in the data. So now we're going to carry on with a two-sample t-test, which will help us to infer whether the difference between these two average salaries of these two gender levels is statistically significant or not. So that is what is the. Now before going to do that, say in Excel, how are we going to do is go to data, and you have data analysis toolbar. So you can also do it manually, but it takes a bit of time. In order to reduce the longevity of my video demonstration, I'm trying to use data analysis toolbar. So here if you observe, there are two sample t-test with some certain conditions. So what are the conditions for two sample t-test? As two sample t-test assuming equal variance, two sample t-test assuming unequal variance. So how do we take a call? So how are we going to come up with? So okay, let's go ahead and do some. I calculate standard deviation in order to, because variance will have hyperbolic values, a bit it doesn't make sense. Like if I create the variance, so I'll go for standard deviation. So you can just go for standard deviation yes for sample, because this is sample data, right? So standard deviation for female individuals is 18.39, and standard deviation for STDV S. For male individuals it is let's see. And now I will also, these are the averages and these are the standard deviations, and now I want to go for variance, only just a matter of formality. Variance var dot s for sample. Now what is the variance? So so I can just simply control all. So here 338 is the variance for the female individual salaries of the female individuals, and 280 is the variance for it. So it doesn't make sense. So that's why I calculated standard deviation in order to compare the variability or dispersion between these two gender level salary particulars. Okay, so here the question is, do we need to consider these two variances equal or unequal? So obviously it is unequal. So 338 is not equal with 280. Now, is the difference between these two variances is statistical? Is it worth consideration? That is what is the question. Now, if that is the question, obviously you can straight away go ahead with two sample t-test with unequal variances, but that is not the right way to perform two sample t-test, because though there are certain differences within the sample, but in the population, so these differences does not exist or something like that. So if that is the assumption, so it is better to perform f-test. So f-test is a variance test. So how are we going to do that? So press data analysis toolbar, and here f two sample test, two sample f-test for variances. Now when you press OK, so take the first sample. I'm going to take the sample for which the average is I need to take 44 male. So I'm going to take the sample for which the average is more, or standard deviation is actually I should take female for whom the variance is more, and then male. The second sample is going to be the male particulars where the variance is less. So I don't have the labels in my data, so I'm just going to, now I would like to display this as f test results. Now if you look at this summary of f test, what is the p-value? P-value for the one-tail test is 0.355, excuse me. Now, so at 5% significance level, we fail to reject the null hypothesis, which states that the variances of both the sample distributions is equal. So variance of female salary is equal to variance of the male salary. That is what is null hypothesis. Now, so earlier we observed that the variances are different, and so we would have, so by taking that as an insight, we would have carried on with two sample t-test with unequal variances. But after performing the f-test, we came to know that though there are certain difference between the variances of these two samples, but the actual difference in the population is 0. So assuming that there were actually the statistical test proves its validity. So the intuitive observation sometimes we may fail. So we need to have some sort of empirical evidence in order to come up with, in order to validate our observations. So we cannot just simply depend on intuition. We need to have some quantitative procedure to test our hypothesis or assumptions or something else. So after performing the F-test, it is very clear that though the variances are different, but that difference is not statistically significant. So with that insight, so I'm going ahead carry on with the two sample t-test with equal variances, not with unequal variances, because that is what my data, my F-test speaks to me. Now the null hypothesis being the mean difference is statistically insignificant. That is null hypothesis, which means the average value of the female salary is equal to average value of the male salary. Okay, so the difference between the means is not is equal to 0, that is null hypothesis, is not equal to 0, that is alternative hypothesis. If you are not able to understand what I am talking, just you need to spend some little time online in order to understand what is the two sample t-test or one sample t-test or something. What is the hypothesis for one sample t-test, the hypothesis for the two sample t-test, something like that. You just can go to the Wikipedia and read pick some material there and understand what is two sample t-test and how the mean difference is calculated and how the hypothesis, the inference is made. Now the first sample is going to be, I'll take the female salary particulars for this 30 sample data. Now second sample, so that's going to be my male particulars, and now there are labels in my data. Now I want to calculate the results in a new worksheet line with a name t-test results. There's spelling mistake, t-test results. Now my t-test says that the difference between the salaries of the male and female are statistically insignificant. So we fail to reject the null hypothesis because our two-tailed t-test p-value is 0.96, which is far greater than for above threshold value, which is 0.05 at 5% significance level. We fail to reject the null hypothesis. So though there are certain differences between the average salary of male female, that difference is statistically insignificant, as we have inferred earlier. So 44.15, 44.4, whatever the difference that we are finding, we are able to find between these two averages, is not statistically significant. In the population, though there is some certain difference here in the sample, but in the population that difference does not matter. Okay, so that is how we perform the normality test and use it for F-test, and then use the F-test results in order to carry on with two sample t-test. So I have demonstrated how to, so all these three aspects of statistical analysis in order to conclude the differences between the samples, and also gain the insights from our data set. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for the new content. Bye bye for now.